I'm going to introduce flags today. We're going to do flags. So let me start the screen share. And now we're in. So you should be able to see. There we are. Here we go. All right. So today's objective is we're going to make some flags. We're going to do our own original designs, which means that you should be using other flags. All right. And it's going to represent some group or organization. It can be a fantasy group or it can be a real group. The thing is that you're going to make a new flag and it's going to symbolize, which means it's going to stand for something else. A lot of times the things in the flag actually have meanings. And you can think about those meanings as you're making, using colors, shapes, pictures. You're going to describe that group in some way, so that there's some sort of connection with the things that are in your in your flag. All right, and I'm going to be collecting. This is going to be collected, and we're going to it's going to be graded. So put in your best effort, please. All right. So the assignment is going to be you take these half sheets of paper. All right. They're underneath, in a yellow box, right underneath the box light. You should be able to find them. Students, you're going to use these markers, you're going to use scissors, you can use pencils, and you're going to create your own flag. So all flags don't have to be rectangular. Mine happen to be at the end when I show you the demonstration, but you can cut some stuff off. Just don't cut too much stuff off, because if you do, then it won't be much of a flag anymore. Third grade and up, put your last name on the back, along with your class code. So you have to remember your class code, whichever your code is. You certainly can make more than one flag if you want, and substitutes. If you could take roll on my printouts, they're not as organized as I'd like them to be. I didn't think that I was going to be out today. Tips, once again, don't make them too small or too odd a shape. These are some odd shapes that are up here, and then there's a rectangular shape, and you can see that there are some symbols in there. Okay. So here's some flags. Can you think or describe some other flags that you've seen before? These are some of the ones that we're probably familiar with. The United States, certainly the Canadian one, a couple of them. All right. So flags are symbols, and they can that means that they stand for something. All right, they stand for something, and they can be for an organization, they can be for a company, they can be for on battleships. So countries have flags. We have the USA, Sri Lanka, and Brazil's flags, and they all stand for something. All right. Maryland has a flag. And all that stuff on there stands for, like, the Calverts and stuff who helped settle this area. California has a bear on there. That's the symbol for California in some way, shape, or form. And there's Pennsylvania. All right. Every one of these flags, they have symbols in them, and a lot of times they can end up being little pictures. All right. DC has a flag, so cities have flags. San Francisco, New York City, they all have flags, right? So organizations like Scouts and the Lions Club and the Red Cross, these are all organizations that have flags. Some companies have flags, right? Like IKEA, Kohl's. A lot of times it's their name and their logo. Sometimes it's just their logo, like the Facebook with the F. A lot of sports teams have flags. All right, these are flags for sports teams like Barcelona, Golden State Warriors, and the Baltimore Ravens. All right. Some bands, some musicians sometimes have flags, and they have little symbols and logos on them. Some religions have flags, right? These are all different religions: Judaism, Hinduism. A lot of them seem a little simpler than others. So one thing that all flags have in common is they communicate in order to advertise the values or affiliations, who's in the group, and what keeps them together. This is a racing flag that helps show you where the end of the race is. Pirate flags. And these are flags, these seasonal flags that people put outside their houses, sort of tells us a little bit about the people who live inside and their values. Flags can be of odd shapes. These are some odd shaped flags. I mean, they're not all rectangles. A lot of flags have animals or mythological creatures or some sort of picture on them. Mexican, there's a Mexican eagle, there's a Welsh dragon, and Wyoming has a bison. So flags come in many colors. So you know, as many colors as you can find in the world, they're pretty much flags, use them. There are a lot of variety of shapes, everything from triangles to rectangles, squares, and then a bunch of shapes that you can't name, like this weird Y shape. Flags in general have simpler designs. These are ones from Star Wars, the Rebel flag and the Galactic Empire flag. So flags work a lot like artworks. You know, a person gets an idea, they make the art piece. In this case, it's a flag. Person sees it, and then they get an idea of what the flag is. If this idea sort of matches some other notions of what the flag is, the person here might get those ideas. Like they may understand that all those little stars stand for states. So you know, when you're putting together a flag, you can think about the kinds of things you would, little pictures, colors, all right, and shapes, all right. And they can all sort of stand for things, all right? They all symbolize. The dove stands for peace. This color green stands for nature. And this triangle stands for play. It tells you which direction the tape is going. It's a holdover from well before we had electronic. We had computers as on our phones and stuff. All right, so there are a bunch of different big ideas. First grade's big idea is that is place, and all the countries in the world pretty much have flags, and you can see there's a flag for each part of the world. All right, there's where we are, and so on and so forth. All right, kindergarten. There's curiosity and wonder. Isn't it amazing how many different flags there are? All right. Second grade, community. Throughout the community, you'll see that the people will put out flags that sort of advertise their values. Sometimes it's a sports team. Sometimes it's just simply to wish us a happy fall or a happy spring. Third grade, your big idea is story. And there's a story behind the American flag that goes with the national anthem. A gentleman named Francis Scott Key, he's a patriot, so he was fighting against the British. All right, he ended up being taken prisoner on one of the ships that was attacking one of our forts. And when he woke up in the morning, he realized that the flag was still up, which meant that the fort hadn't been taken. And he was really happy about that. He wrote a poem about it, which became our national anthem, which is the song we sing about our country, and it has to do with the flag. Fourth and fifth, there's tradition in the way flags are put together in our country. The number of stripes have stayed pretty much the same since very early in the, but the stars have changed. All right, so there's some changing on the flags. You can see the flag has changed a lot over time, but mostly in this one section of blue where they keep adding stars, because every time we have a new state, there ends up being a new star. So today, yes, you're making a flag. You're trying to make it symbolize. Think about your colors. Think about your pictures. What are you trying to symbolize? Think about the organization you're trying to create a flag for. You're going to use markers. You'll use the copy paper that's cut, scissors if you need to cut them further, and pencils to put your names on the back. Here's the demonstration. Let's go through that real quick.
Right, you see a cut.
Okay, I'm going to actually just walk you through it myself. I had you're going to find that the pieces are already cut. I'm not going to cut this any further because most flags are rectangles, but they're not all rectangles. Okay. Now I'm going to make something for an Egyptian society. And so like people who are interested in Egypt. And so what I did was I made a triangle that looks like a pyramid. All right. And then I drew around it a little bit. I gave it a little space and I then colored in the top. I colored in purple. There's no particular symbol for the purple. Actually, the thing is, I only had a couple markers, so that's why it is the way it is. All right, so I finished that top. You can see, and now I'm doing the bottom. I'm doing blue. All right, so my flag. Whoops, I went too far. My flag ended up looking something like. Let me see if I can get to the end. Something like that when it was done. All right. Now you can do whatever you want. Now I want to show you what it looked like when I would do one with the animal. So maybe I did one for a society of people who like cats. All right, a bunch of people who like cats. So if you go, you can see me drawing the cat, and then I colored in the cat. I did what we call a silhouette, which is sort of like a shadow picture. We know that a little bit from our numbers that we were doing the other day. See, I colored it in. Now I'm going to go around the animal. All right. That way the animal shows up good. And leave that little force field around the animal. All right. And then I colored it in. And then when I was done, put them both out. Whoa, too far. Let me see if I can do that again. Go all the way to the end where I put them both out. There you are. See, those are my two flags. So you can do more than one. In fact, if you run out of time, that's what you should do. All right, let me see if I can get to, and I don't want to be here. I want to be back on my thing. All right, that is it. Remember, you were making flags today and you want them to symbolize something. You want to put pictures on them, make them interesting, make sure your names are on them. And hopefully you'll have a good day. Thank you for whoever's taking my class today. I'm going to stop the share, stop the recording,